Right after the family reunion, I checked my bank account, and my heart dropped. It was nearly empty. Before I could even react, my brother-in-law gave this smug little snort and said, "We needed it more than you." My hands were shaking as I grabbed my bag. "Then you won't mind what's coming next?" I told him, my voice tight. They all chuckled like it was some big joke. Then boom. A loud thud rattled the house. The front door slammed open, and there he was. "You're seriously mad about this?" Derek leaned casually against the fridge, cradling a beer in one hand. That same arrogant smirk stuck to his face. "Relax. We needed it more than you." I stared at my phone, thumb hovering above the refresh button on my banking app. I'd already hit it 3 times, hoping it was a glitch. Still the same balance. $4.93. That couldn't be right. Just yesterday, I had a little over $13,000 sitting there. $14,000. You what? My voice cracked from the shock. Amber, my sister, was curled up on the couch like she didn't have a care in the world. Sipping wine and looking like this was just another game night. "Oh, don't be dramatic," she said, rolling her eyes. "It's not like we stole it. We're family." "You drained my account." Derek shrugged. "It's not really draining if we plan to pay it back. Eventually." I opened my mouth to respond, but nothing came out. Across the room, Mom sat with her knitting, eyes locked on her needles. She didn't even flinch. "Mom," I said louder this time, "did you know about this?" She let out a long sigh, like I was being overly emotional at dinner. "Sweetheart, you're always so sensitive. You've got a stable job. No rent, no kids. You live alone. You're fine. So that makes it okay to rob me?" I asked. "Language, Tyler," Dad muttered, still glued to whatever was on his phone. I turned to Amber, trying to piece it all together. "How did you even get into my account?" She didn't flinch. "You left your login info on the family computer. Maybe next time don't log in and walk away. Honestly, it's your own fault." My own fault. I nearly choked on that. My fists clenched without me even realizing. My breathing turned shallow. "You're blowing this way out of proportion," Derek added. "It's not like we spent it on dumb stuff." "Yeah," Amber chimed in. "We used it for rent, groceries, just getting by. You didn't ask. We didn't think we had to," she snapped back. "You've been footing the bill for years. What's the difference if it comes through you or from you?" I grabbed my bag, slow and steady. No one flinched. Not a single sorry. Not a flicker of guilt. Just blank stares. "You're leaving already?" Mom asked. "Yeah," I said, zipping up my coat. "But don't worry." I reached for the door. Paused. "I'll be in touch." "Don't be like that," Amber groaned. "We needed it more than you. That's just facts." Their laughter followed me as I stepped out. But something had already shifted. "You always help," Amber's voice echoed in my head. "That's what you're for, right? Hey, you okay?" It was my cousin, Naomi, jogging up as I stormed toward my car, jaw clenched and fists tight. "No," I muttered, yanking the door open. "I heard what Amber said," she said gently. "That wasn't right." I didn't answer, because if I said a single word, I would have screamed. Truth is, this wasn't new. It was just the final straw. 4 years I'd been the responsible one. The guy with the job. The one who never needed help. Which, apparently, meant I'd become the family ATM. Started small. Amber once forgot to pay her phone bill. Covered it. Then Derek lost his job and asked for a tiny loan to get through the month. Next, it was a birthday present for their daughter. I offered to help pay for it. Turns out they'd already assumed I would. Every time they twisted it like I owed them. "You're lucky, Tyler," Mom would say with that syrupy tone that always had something sharp under it. "You don't have the burdens your sister carries. God gave you stability so you could share it." Dad wasn't much different. "Family supports each other," he'd toss in. "You wouldn't be here if it weren't for us." Translation: "We gave you life, now hand over your paycheck." And I never asked for a thing. Not even when I got laid off and lived off rice and eggs for 6 months. Not when I skipped 3 years worth of vacations just to rebuild my savings. Not even when I helped pay off Amber and Derek's credit cards a couple years back. They never paid me back. Didn't even bother to say thank you. Hey, you coming to the reunion? Amber had asked last week. Yeah, I replied. Need me to bring anything? Her response came fast. Just bring yourself. And your card. I laughed at the time. Thought it was a joke. Now I know it wasn't. 2 days after it all blew up, Amber started calling. I ignored it. Then came Derek's text. Just call her, man. She's freaking out. On the 5th try, I finally answered. Tyler, she said, her voice all shaky. We have a problem. Oh, do we? Don't be like that, she said. Something happened. I didn't respond. The power company came today. We're super behind. They're gonna shut it off if we don't pay by Monday. I waited. So, we need your help. I laughed. Just a short, bitter sound. You wiped out my savings, and now you're asking for more? It wasn't just for us, she barked. We used some to help Mom and Dad too. Remember when Dad's car broke down? I didn't remember, because no one told me. Because you always say no if it's not a full-blown emergency. Amber, I said, my voice flat. This isn't just screwed up. It's criminal. You're being dramatic. It's family. You never even asked. We didn't think we had to. You've always helped. That's what you're for, right? There it was. The truth, plain and simple. That night I couldn't sleep. I laid there in the dark, replaying every single moment from the past 5 years. The money, the guilt trips, the way Mom always said, "You're the strong one." How Amber would sigh or roll her eyes anytime I hesitated. They didn't see me as family. Not really. Not as a brother. Not a son. Just a resource. 3 days later, Mom called. We need to talk. Not once did she ask how I was. Nothing about work. Not even a word about the money. We're having a family dinner. Just us. Come by tonight. My gut dropped. What's this really about? Tyler, she said in that serious, low tone. You've stirred up a lot of tension. Tension I caused. Still, I went. Part of me wanted closure. Another part needed to know if they'd at least pretend to be sorry. They didn't. Amber was already there when I arrived, arms folded like she was bracing for a fight. Derek lounged beside her, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. Mom busied herself in the kitchen. Dad was flipping through the mail like nothing had happened. So, Amber started as I sat down. Are we gonna act like grown-ups or not? That depends, I said, staring her down. Are you ready to admit to felony-level theft? She rolled her eyes. God, you're so dramatic. It wasn't theft. It was family money. You always help. We needed it. Derek nodded along. You've got it to spare. So why are you making this such a big deal? You didn't exactly say no either, Amber fired back. Because I didn't know you were stealing from me? I shot back, stunned. She waved a hand like the details didn't matter. Semantics. I turned toward Mom. And you're seriously okay with all this? She looked away. We all agreed. You've always been the one who could manage things. We figured you'd understand. No one even thought to ask. Not once. We trusted you, Dad chimed in, as if that was supposed to make it better. Trusted you to do what's right. I stood up slowly. And tell me what exactly is right. Letting your own family rob you blind while they smile in your face. Stop saying steal, Amber yelled. It was for the family. Then you won't mind when the family faces the fallout, I said cold. What's that supposed to mean? Derek narrowed his eyes. I didn't say a word. Not yet. They didn't get to cry now. Not after what they did. When I walked back into that house later, everyone was already there. Mom was clattering plates in the kitchen, a little louder than necessary. Dad was parked on the couch, flipping channels like it was any other night. Amber stood rigid near the window, arms crossed, face tight. Derek lounged at the table, legs kicked out like he was about to watch a ball game, not about to answer for draining someone's life savings. Well, look who decided to show up. Amber muttered. I dropped my bag at the door without saying a word. Let's just get this over with, I said. Perfect, Derek smirked. Maybe now we can stop pretending you were actually robbed. I was robbed. I sat down. That was their cue. Mom cleared her throat. Tyler, honey, we know you're upset, but you've got to see we were struggling. We didn't have any other way. Amber and Derek were barely staying afloat, Dad added. And you, well, you've always been the dependable one. We knew we could count on you. You didn't ask, I said, my voice like ice. You just took. That's not love. That's theft. Amber rolled her eyes so hard it looked painful. God, you're being so over the top. We didn't blow it on junk. We used it for stuff that mattered. No, I said, reaching into my bag. You used it on whatever you wanted. I dropped a spreadsheet on the table. Pages of charges, highlighted in color. $72 on makeup. $900 on takeout. Over $2,000 to pay off your car loan, Derek. Derek's expression twisted. You went through our accounts? Oh, I did more than that. I flipped open my laptop. The screen lit up with a clean, color-coded breakdown. Every dollar. Every charge. All tracked. I compiled every transaction. Then I filed a fraud report. Amber's face drained of color. You didn't. I did. You called the cops? She shrieked. I turned to Mom. Still think this is just a family squabble? This is madness. Dad barked. You turn on your own sister like that? No. She did that all on her own. And right on cue, 3 hard knocks shook the door. Knock. 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 Amber froze. Derek bolted upright. Mom gasped and stumbled back. Dad just stopped. Open up, a voice shouted. Financial Crimes Division. Knock. 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 Derek turned to me, voice hushed and desperate. Tyler, please tell me this is a bluff. I walked to the door and pulled it open. 3 agents stepped inside, jackets marked with bold lettering. One had a clipboard. Another held a tablet. The third scanned the room like he already knew the whole story. You Tyler Bennett? Yes. Thank you for your cooperation. We'll take it from here. Mom clamped a hand over her mouth. Amber collapsed into a chair. Derek looked like he was about to bolt. One of the agents turned toward them. You're listed as parties of interest in an ongoing investigation involving financial fraud and identity theft. Identity theft? Mom cried out. He's our son. The agent didn't flinch. Family connections don't excuse illegal actions, ma'am. We didn't steal anything. Amber shouted. We had a right. He always helped us. He always Thinking you're entitled to someone's money doesn't make it yours, another agent said, cool and calm. Remain seated, please. I stepped back and watched. For the first time, no one interrupted me. No one rolled their eyes. No one laughed. Mom turned toward me, voice trembling, tears already brimming. Tyler, please, we didn't mean to hurt you. We were just desperate. You've always been the strong one. The only one we could lean on. I met her eyes dead on. You don't get to cry now. She broke down, covered her mouth and sobbed. Amber tried to say something, but no words came. Derek looked like he wanted to run, but under the agent's eyes, he didn't move an inch. You want to talk about what family really means? I said, stepping closer. It's trust. It's respect. It's asking. Not assuming. Not stealing. And definitely not laughing while you bleed me dry. No one replied. I grabbed my bag and turned to the lead agent. I'll wait outside. This time, no one stopped me. You're free now, Tyler. Don't go back. I stepped out into the cold, quiet night. No shouting. No guilt tripping. No Amber yelling, how could you down the driveway? Just silence. And the crunch of tires behind me as they were taken away one by one. I didn't watch. I didn't need to. That night, I drove with no map, no plan. I passed gas stations, dark storefronts, quiet coffee shops. My phone buzzed nonstop in the passenger seat. I ignored every single one. I didn't need more apologies disguised as excuses. By midnight, I found myself parked outside the one place that had always felt like peace, Grandma's old house. She'd been gone a few years now, but I still had the key. I remembered what she used to say over and over. If they ever turn on you, Tyler, you come here. This door'll always open for you. And that night, it did. I collapsed into the old guest bed and slept for 10 hours straight. No pings. No guilt. No pressure squeezing my chest like a vice. When I finally woke up, I poured myself coffee in one of her old chipped mugs. I stood by the window watching sunlight spill over the backyard where she used to garden. And for the first time in what felt like forever, I could breathe. But peace didn't last long. That afternoon, Dad emailed me. This has gone too far. You've humiliated the family. What happened to loyalty? I didn't reply. Then Amber texted. Hope you're happy. My accounts are frozen. Derek's being investigated at work. You ruined everything over a few payments. A few payments? Try tens of thousands. Try 5 years of quiet sacrifice. Then came Mom. A voicemail. Her voice soft. Breaking. You didn't have to go this far. We could have handled it privately. Tyler, sweetheart, they're talking charges. We might lose the house. I played that line over and over. We might lose the house. And you know what? I didn't feel angry. Or vindictive. I just didn't feel anything. Because I'd already lost a home. The day they decided I was worth more as an ATM than a son, that's when I lost it. 2 days later, a message popped up. Not from Amber. Not from Derek. From Derek's brother. A guy I'd maybe said 5 words to in my entire life. The message from Derek's brother was short. Just a heads up, Amber's trying to pin the whole thing on you. Telling people you knew about the transfers and gave permission. There's a lawyer involved. Be careful. I almost laughed. Even now, when everything around her was burning, she was still trying to twist the truth to her advantage. That night, I called my lawyer. Send everything, I said. We're not just pressing charges anymore. I want a restraining order too. But not every message that came through was cruel. A week later, I got an email from Brooke, Derek's sister. I know we haven't talked in years. But I just wanted to say you were right. About all of it. About how they treated you. About how toxic things really were. I used to think you were just distant. Now I think you were brave. I stared at that message for a long time. Brave? No one in my family had ever called me that. Then one morning, my phone rang again. Unknown number. I nearly ignored it, but something told me to answer. Tyler. The voice was rough, shaky. It's Amber. I stayed quiet. She kept talking. Look, I know I messed everything up, okay? I went too far. I didn't think it'd end like this. Derek's suspended. Mom's crying nonstop. Dad won't even look at me. And you, She hesitated. You always had the power to ruin everything. And now you finally did. I let that hang for a second. Then I said, calm and flat. I didn't ruin anything. I just stopped letting you walk all over me. Silence. Then, soft and pleading. Can you just stop now? Drop the charges. Please. I'll do anything. Just make it go away. For a moment, I almost felt something. Almost. But then I remembered her voice the night of the reunion, laughing smug. We needed it more than you. I gave a bitter smile. No, I said. You made this mess. Now you get to live in it. And I hung up. That night, I made myself dinner. Put on my favorite college playlist. Sat out on the porch with a hot mug of coffee. And for once, I just existed. No one was begging for money. No one was making me feel guilty. No one was treating me like my only worth came from what I could give. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't their wallet. I was just me. And that was enough. I'm not your ATM. I'm not your emergency fund. I'm not your backup plan. I'm done. You know, no one tells you how quiet peace really is. You expect fireworks. Some kind of big, dramatic release. But for me, peace sounded like silence. No text starting with, since you're the only one doing well. No calls accusing me of being selfish. Just silence. Beautiful, uninterrupted silence. It's been 3 months since the night everything exploded. 3 months since agents stepped through that front door. 3 months since reality finally cracked through their fantasy. They say you can't choose your family. Maybe that's true. But you can choose how much of yourself you're willing to lose just trying to keep them happy. And I was done losing. The fallout was fast. Amber and Derek tried to do damage control. Their lawyer reached out to mine, wanted to settle privately. No apology. No ownership. Just desperation dressed as negotiation. I told my lawyer, let it burn. Then a letter came from Mom. 10 handwritten pages. Her usual neat script, shaky in spots. She wrote about how things got out of hand. How they never meant to hurt me. She said she hoped I could see the bigger picture. We just assumed you'd always be there, she wrote. That's what good sons do. And that line stuck with me. Because it said everything. Not, we were wrong. Not, you didn't deserve that. Just, you were supposed to stay quiet. Keep giving. I didn't reply. I didn't call. And for the first time ever, I didn't feel guilty about it. I moved. New apartment. New state. No more surprise visits. No more guilt trips disguised as check-ins. I even changed my number. My boss noticed I was sharper, more focused. Offered me a promotion. I took it. Funny how much better you perform when you're not secretly trying to cover your sister's rent and your mom's utility bills while pretending everything's fine. Yeah? I sleep better. I eat better. I breathe better. Because I'm no longer dragging four ungrateful people on my back, people who never once said thank you. Then one morning I got a letter. No return address. Inside a check for $1,300. And a handwritten note. I left him. You were right. I was scared, but watching what you did gave me the courage to leave. This is for everything you paid for Lila, her tablet, the rent, the clothes. I know Derek never thanked you. But I am. Thank you for being the example I needed. Brooke. I read it twice. Then I cried. Not from pain. Not from regret. But because, finally, someone in that mess of a family saw me. Not as a resource. Not as a fallback plan. Just as a person. People ask me sometimes, do you regret it? And I always give the same answer. No. What I regret is waiting so long. I regret all the nights I couldn't sleep. All the trips I canceled. All the months I lived on a shoestring budget while they dined out and posted grateful family selfies online. I regret shrinking myself so they could feel tall. I regret the moments I stayed quiet when I should have said, enough is enough. But do I regret standing up? Lighting the match? Watching the whole rotten thing fall apart? Not for a second. My therapist once asked me, why did it take you so long to say no? And I told her, because I thought saying no meant I didn't love them. She nodded and said, saying no is how you teach people to love you back. I've never forgotten that. Just a few days ago, I bumped into someone from high school. She said, hey, I saw what happened with your family. That's wild. I braced for the usual pity, maybe judgment. But she smiled and added, good for you. Most people never get out. I thanked her and walked away feeling lighter. Last I heard, Amber and Derek are still under investigation. Derek lost his job. Amber's accounts are frozen. Mom's trying to refinance the house. Dad, apparently, is blaming outside influences for tearing the family apart. They still don't get it. I didn't destroy the family. I just stopped pretending it was whole. Sometimes I get flashbacks to that night. The table. Amber laughing while I stared at my drained account. Derek grinning like it was all one big joke. Mom shrugging it off. You don't need that money, she'd said. Well, now they know. That money wasn't just money. It was my time, my effort, my health, my boundaries, and they trampled all over those things for years. Like it didn't matter. Now they pay the price. I'm not out here cheering for their downfall. But I am celebrating something. Me. I celebrate the fact that I made it through. That I walked away. That I didn't turn back. Even on the nights when the silence felt too heavy. Even when guilt crept in like it always used to, whispering that I was heartless for finally choosing myself. But that silence, that quiet that used to scare me, it's peace. It's freedom. So if you're reading this and you've been the one always holding things together, the reliable one, the strong one, the son, the daughter, the sibling who's expected to give without question and never complain, let me say the words I wish someone had said to me a long time ago. You don't have to set yourself on fire just to keep everyone else warm. You're allowed to stop. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to walk away. And when you finally do, you're not losing a family. You're finding yourself.